I gotta go pee, so I'm gonna hand the wheel off to Jennifer. Then the audience will be like, okay.
And we're live. Welcome back to Modern Mommies here on soulgarden.tv, tweettalk.tv. I am Alexis Ann Moore, and I am your host for this wonderful event. I'm the mother of a beautiful 3.5-year-old boy and the creator of the Superhero Children Project. And with me, I've got my lovely co-host, Jennifer Perry. How's it going, Jennifer?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Oh, and Jennifer is the mother of 3 teenagers and is a school counselor for a ton of children in the Dallas Independent School District after 17 years of working in the school district. So she's got lots of kids there. And so, sorry, I'm just all flustered now. I think we just went live talking about having to pee or something. So. And with us, we have the Wizard of Soul Garden himself, who brought us into the show today, Christopher Witecki. How's it going, Chris?
I'm good, and I'll also add I'm the proud father of an 18-year-old in about 2 weeks.
That's right. Oh, 2 weeks? He's going to be 18?
Yes, setting him off into the bird off into the world.
Wow, that's gigantic. I can't even imagine that. Oh, my goodness. Mine's 3. He's on his 2nd overnight ever. I can't imagine 18.
It happens very quickly, I will say, in retrospect. Enjoy every minute you have with your kids. It really happens so quick. Everything happens so quickly with kids.
It really does. I have a friend with an 8-month-old, and I tell him all the time, I'm talking about Legos with my son, and I'm like, you'll see, it's going to be like tomorrow. He's going to be building spaceships, and you're going to know everything about Legos. Just wait. It happens overnight.
It does happen. They just grow so fast. But you also learn at this stage of parenting that this, it never ends ever, like the parenting, and now it's just entering into a new phase of how I parent and how I'm there for him and how I support him in this next phase. So to me, of course, it doesn't end. But it does unlock me. I'm like, bah, like I can leave the country. I can, I've been afraid to leave the country while my son was young. I didn't want to be out of the country if something went wrong. Just weird stuff like that. I've kept buckled down because he was under 18.
Wow. Now, I've noticed in myself that now that Zane's 3.5, I nursed him till he was almost 3, and then now in the last 6 months, there has been this physical transformation in both of us, like a hormonal thing, just like what kicked in when he was born to make me nurturing and want to co-sleep and attachment parent and all the stuff I did. That was hormonally driven. It was like my instinct did that. And now that phase is gone, like the hormones are dictating that we are now tired of being around each other all the time. Now we're both like, peace, see ya, have a great winter, we'll meet back here later. Good. Okay. But it's like a physical thing. Like I physically feel it. I can't imagine when he's 18 what that's going to feel like. Wow.
I'll let you know as it goes.
Yeah. We've also got, and I want to say, like, it's been a while since we've had Christopher on the show, so it's so great to have you with us. And it's also been so long since we've had Mary. It's so good to see you, Mary.
Oh, thank you very much.
Mary Neva. Who is the Soul Garden's ambassador of children. How are you doing?
Oh, real good. I'm a great aunt again, and gosh, I think it's 33 nieces and nephews, and now I'm a great aunt. I think 6 times now.
Oh wow!
So I've got this list. It's like if you could see this.
Oh my God! Is that your Christmas list?
Look at this. This is just the list of the birthdays, okay?
Oh, my.
That's as many kids in my school.
Right? Okay, so backstory for those of you that don't know, Mary she has 11 brothers and sisters and is well-versed on all kinds of kid stuff. I mean, and I had no idea what the numbers were for your nieces and nephews. I hadn't even tried to do that math, I think. Oh, my gosh.
33 is kind of magical.
Yeah.
That's kind of magical.
Jeez,
yeah.
Jeez.
To watch the numbers.
Thanksgiving must be like just a gigantic feast.
Well, we have a family early Christmas and that's when we all get together versus on Thanksgiving most people just have it with their families and their small families. But our Christmas pre-Christmas party is like the Sunday before is just crazy. And my dear sister-in-law has it at the same house all the time. It's just wonderful.
Wow. That's really cool. I can't imagine those numbers. I had a large family growing up in Georgia, and then we moved to Houston when I was a kid, and all of a sudden it was just, I mean, we're talking Georgia. I had mountain folk family. Like, our Thanksgivings and Christmas were gigantic. Then moved here, and it was just my mom and my brother and me. It was very different. But all right, well, so we had long introductions because it's kind of like reuniting today with Mary and Christopher. But getting on into the show today, we're going to be talking about, here in Texas, our main topic for today we're going to be discussing is the idea of medical marijuana legalization in Texas, and possibly even recreational. That's been being tossed around in the legislation and such, and so we're going to discuss what that is, what it means, and everything related to that. And then we're going to share some tips and tricks for vacation hacks. So vacation hacks for kids, and really for parental sanity. And then, of course, we're going to have our Hot Daddy of the Week coming up, so stay tuned for that. And to get us started, we're going to be talking about what's going on. What's going on? Hey, Jennifer, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about Tesla and the new battery.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm not really familiar with this subject as much as I know that there's a new battery. It's supposed to revolutionize, the way that we're using batteries and things like that.
Tesla is one of these companies that it's like I get so excited to talk about on the show because I am all about advertising for heart-centered innovation, people that are just these brilliant minds that are doing what they do because they are so passion-driven for doing their own weird little way of making the world a better place. And so the guy behind Tesla, I mean, he created this car that puts an end to fossil fuels. Unfortunately, it's incredibly expensive, but then I think he also either didn't patent the design or gave away the design for free so other people can go and do it. I mean, because the guy...
Is this the same Tesla, like Nikola Tesla from back in Edison days Tesla?
No, but they're using named, I think, to let you know they stand along with that integrity. So they are, as far as I can tell, I mean, it seems incredibly apparent that that the guy behind Tesla is just simply driven to use his creative brilliance to do away with fossil fuels and to give power back to the people by giving them these things. So I don't know much about the Tesla car. I just know that I wish I had one.
I do. I know lots of stuff about Tesla cars.
Christopher, actually, you know a lot about this guy. So
yes, Elon Musk is his name.
What's his name?
His name is Elon Musk. He's actually from South Africa and was born in South Africa, so he's got an international perspective, from his background. He was raised in kind of privileged white schools and got himself into Canada, and then and studied basically. He has 2 bachelors under him, one in physics and one in economics. And so he got physics and economics degrees, which is an interesting hybrid if you think about it.
Seriously.
And then he went to Stanford to get his PhD in applied physics. But once he was at Stanford, he dropped out like many Bill Gates and people at his level and started to develop his own projects. And his first big hit out of the ballpark was PayPal. Which was named something else, and actually he had a business that was doing electronic transfers. They acquired PayPal, which was a struggling version. They integrated everything, and then PayPal became a dominant force in eBay success right when eBay was hitting its peak, and such a dominant force that he was able to then sell out to eBay for a high price tag and just pull money out. And so that's how he made his first piece of abundant wealth. And so right away he started SpaceX, which was his interest in exploration of space and Mars. I think this is his physics degree coming out, and started developing rocketry and whatnot out of SpaceX. And in 2006 he won a NASA contract to explore rocket development. recently in the last year, they won the NASA contract to be the rocket that takes stuff up to the space station. So
Whoa.
he has actually, fortunately, the other version of rocketry that we were using blew up, which was like hadn't in many, many years, but did. So it was like, unfortunate timing, I guess, in that respect. And a lot of his strategy to get into NASA was he pointed out that the U.S. government was buying used rockets from Russia, which we were.
Oh.
And we were buying used missile rockets from Russia to shoot stuff up into space for NASA as a cheap cost. And he was like, "What the forgive? Like, it should be U.S., And so that was an undeniable drum. So he's a Cancer. He's a step 6 Cancer. So he's very emotional and family based and an artist, I guess, as a step 6. Tesla is actually the brilliant inventor that came up with a lot of electrical devices in the early part of this century, who didn't get really much credit for those electrical devices. Westinghouse and all these other big electric companies, General Electric, these are all big conglomerates that were built out of kind of stock market crap. If you know the whole story, J.P. Morgan built those things. And all that J.P. Morgan and all that selfishness of Thomas Edison, who was quite selfish and at one time hired Tesla, Tesla ended up losing out, even though he was a genius. So Elon Musk actually named his car company after Tesla in a way to honor and keep this man's work alive.
And the fact that, all Tesla wanted to do was to give the free energy to people, right?
Right. Which J.P. Morgan thought was crazy.
Right.
Well, of course, because how do they control people? And then, oh my God, what we could do for ourselves if we didn't have to, worry about how we were going to pay for energy and all of that.
If you guys doubt the power of J.P. Morgan, J.P. Morgan is the basis of General Electric. J.P. Morgan is the basis of AT&T. J.P. Morgan is the basis of Chase Manhattan Banks. So this is the fundament of 4 of the major corporations in the United States. And I believe it was Elizabeth Warren who was warning us about some of the powers these banks are beginning to have in government. She's been whistleblowing in the last 9 months about that, just to put it on the table there. So, but Elon Musk is a very cool guy, and so Tesla cars are amazing. They're electric cars. He has basically 2 agendas. One agenda is to get to Mars, and the second agenda is to get electric cars on the road and completely, eliminate fossil fuels. So he's got a personal agenda against fossil fuels. And the cars are really cool. What's cool about them is they're like an iPhone. They get software updates. So this summer, the Tesla car is getting an update where it'll be able to drive itself on highways. It's called autopilot. The cars will be able to drive themselves, just overnight with the software update. And he's kind of pushing the limits there as far as what U.S. government law is. And he's got an interest in that. As for these home pack batteries, I think these are a huge step. What he's doing is definitely setting the first benchmark.
We haven't actually said what that is. So these home pack batteries, it's called the Powerwall battery. There it is. There's a picture of it. And it can be used for a home or an office. I am not sure what the cost is, but I know that it was just pretty much, I think it just was presented and it's already sold out through next year or something.
Wow.
So basically that is a solar pack that will power your house. Wow.
Well, it combines with the solar pack. It can do a couple things. What that is like a backup battery. This is a backup battery system for your house. So basically, if you had solar panels, you can dump them into this. Right?
Oh,
but if you were on the grid, you could charge them up off the grid. Right? So it depends on whether or not, if you're on the power grid. So what happens if the lights go out in Houston or wherever you or in Dallas or whatever, this pack would come on and would keep you going. Or if you were a solar powered home, right? All day long you're charging these batteries, all night you're living off the batteries. All day long you're charging the batteries, all night you're living off the batteries.
Okay, now tell us a little bit. He's got another company that is putting solar panels on houses, and I don't know a lot about it, but I think something about he had an offer where you could put them on for basically free of cost, and then you would just give them your extra energy, or they would just take some of your energy.
Yeah, basically it's called Solar City. Actually, SolarCity's the company, and for people who live in sun regions, this is something I would recommend definitely, because these guys are willing to come to your house and evaluate it for free, first of all. So they'll come and give you a whole thing, and yes, they have some sort of program where it doesn't cost the owner anything. They basically find a way to pay for everything off the energy it's going to provide. So I'm not sure how the equation works. Here in California, you can actually sell energy back to the grid. So in California, if you're making energy more than you need, you sell it to California.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm.
And so California could cut you a check every month. Theoretically, if I had enough yardage of solar panels, I would get a check every month from Edison. There's a lot of, just to share with you, in California, though, we're finding that these companies are paying us crap rates for the electricity. So It's like, oh, sure, they're buying it, but they're buying it for bad rates. It's like, so it's like we're still getting screwed by them one way, So here comes this battery. It's like, well, don't put it on the grid. Put it into your own battery. Store it for yourself. Now, I think that these batteries, from what I've read from the experts, it's like, this is just kind of like Apple. If you go out and buy these right now, you're an early adapter. You're going to see a much better version of these batteries come out here in the next year. What he's doing is throwing something out there so everyone starts bickering out over how it can be better, and they already have started.
Very cool.
But
and
I
then
think
maybe more companies start making them so that they can. Yes, that's awesome.
And battery energy, so this is also him being a smart entrepreneur, because Tesla, which did very well in the stock market, they have to manufacture these batteries for their cars, and so what he's doing is creating a separate revenue stream for his battery manufacturing that would sustain that part of his business. So it's very smart.
I love everything I'm hearing about this guy. It reminds me of, it's like what I teach in my superhero children classes. Is I teach my kids, like, if you follow all of the things about you that are just different, like all of your specific talents, passions, and interests, if you are able to maintain following and celebrating your talents, passions, and interests, and you will see that they all come together in one once you get to a certain point in your adulthood, and then you're like, boom, that's what I'm here for, and you just rock that weird thing that you do, and the world is just a better place just because you're there. And it's very rare to hear stories about people that are so innovative, because it really takes that. It really takes following, like banging on your own drum and following your own personal drive. And so many times that's knocked out of us. So to hear stories about people that waved their weirdo flag and just kept doing their thing like this, and then what comes from it, it makes me excited.
It's very exciting and rare. He's like the South African American dream.
Yeah, I'm glad he's coming on over here.
He's international and global. That's what I like about him, is that he's a global. I think that's the new us. It's like people who think for the whole earth. When I sit down with Elon one day and talk to him, I'm going to ask him why Mars,
right.
And why he's obsessed with it. I'm going to ask him if he'll swing by the moon and see if the government's hiding a base there before he goes to Mars.
How many governments or how many bases?
And are you trusting what you drink whenever you're around NASA? Like, be careful, dude. You're doing business with the dark side. There's a lot of things I'd like to talk to him about. But I also think it's important to save Earth before we run to Mars. That's a topic I think is important to say. But hey, turning every car into electric is more than a fair share of helping the Earth. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Building SolarCity, where you can, for no cost, have solar panels. Just give people an idea. If you're a homeowner, you really should do it for so many reasons. The electrical grid system in the United States is extremely weak, for one. And it's going to go through some hard times with the weather that's coming, with Mother Earth being disgruntled. And secondly, it's very good for your, getting solar panels for yourself makes you self-reliant in case there's an issue, But in most cases, it kind of disrupts the whole power structure of the grid. The electrical companies have had their hands around our necks for a long time, and I think it's really important that we kind of take some of that power back. Literally.
It's happening too. I mean, I was just having the thought earlier today about how the rules and regulations and laws and all of the things that are in place to keep us structured in society, it's so obvious that only maybe a few of them really work for making us a more dynamic species. Most of them just really beat the crap out of us. And why do we do it? Because that's the way we've always done it. And there's legislation involved, and it's just too hard to change the course. And that's the worst reason ever to keep doing something, you know?
The
We've been doing this
legislation is a result of the industries that corrupted Congress that wrote legislations that kept the old coal burning and stuff industries in place. You know.
Well, speaking of legislations, let's talk about what's going on in Texas right now with legalizing medicinal marijuana, and there's talk about recreational use. I want to say hi to Patricia for joining us. She joined us to share your input on this subject as well. We met on the Modern Mommies Facebook group where I posted a yay. They're wanting to legalize the what is it, CBD oil?
CBD oil, and
and then you quickly said, "Wait a second, that's not a win."
It's not a win because it's not benefiting all. It doesn't benefit everybody. The only people it's going to benefit are the people selling CBD oil. Basically, CBD oil comes from hemp, and hemp is already legal in all 50 states. We can go to the supermarket and buy hemp. We can buy hemp oil. We can buy hemp protein, hemp heart. You know, that can already be imported into the U.S. legally. Now, if you want to use it for medicinal purposes, we're going to need to add THC, which a lot of patients who are trying to get their children or their loved ones, they're trying to get them onto CBD oil, thinking, well, that's what the media says is helping patients. When they finally receive their CBD oil, they say, hey, it's not working. Why isn't it working? And it doesn't work because you didn't get marijuana oil, cannabis oil. What you ended up getting was hemp oil that you could have gotten at the supermarket. So now, even though CBD is legal and these patients want to use the medicinal plant, they're still breaking the law. They're breaking the federal law, because if the state only passed a CBD law and they want the medical portion of it, they're going to have to add THC, which most patients do. I'm not going to say all patients do, but the majority of the people that I have talked to have had to add THC. So in a state that just legalized CBD, it's actually not legal for you to use medical marijuana.
Well, like essential oils.
Does that make sense?
There's so many different grades of essential oils that you can have, like the first press or whatever of an oil, and that's the high grade stuff. But then you go to the store and you buy like the third level of whatever that purity is, and it's just not the same. I mean, you can go look in the healing books about oils, and they'll say, well, yes, you can use that, but if you really want the effect, you need to use this one. And
right, and that's an issue we're seeing all over the U.S. now, because people are desperate. We want to save our children, and they're getting low quality oil. They're actually getting tincture. They're not even getting actual oil. They're getting tincture, which is mixed with coconut oil or olive oil usually. You can get it with alcohol or honey. So you're only getting, let's take, there's a brand here in Colorado, and I'm not going to name it, that works with kids with epilepsy, severe epilepsy, and originally they were giving this child regular oil, cannabis oil, which is dark, tarry stuff that you see. You've probably seen it advertised somewhere. So this is cannabis oil. This is pure oil that children were given originally, or even adults. Now that's not what they're selling. They're actually selling hemp oil, and if you look at their packaging, it says blah blah oil with hemp oil mixed with coconut oil. So you're actually not getting the actual full oil that used to be sold at one time, and it doesn't have THC, because in order to sell it out of the state of Colorado or California or any other legal medical state,
can't have THC in it.
It has to have, they cannot have THC. It's a federal offense to mail that stuff out of the state. So
I'm wondering, Jennifer, do you have any statistics on on any of the I don't know, statistics on the states that do have medical marijuana legalized or even recreational. Like, I can't imagine. Okay, I'm a musician, so I have seen people after smoking pot a few times in my life, and I cannot imagine any of them being aggressive or violent. You know, like, I can't really imagine any kind of, like, real society issues coming up, except for maybe needing to stock certain things at the grocery store a little more heavily. I want to actually, we just kind of jumped right into the conversation, but Jennifer, I want to hear all of the details and the facts that you've got for us on this story.
On the whole medical marijuana issue?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, one of the things that, I'll give you first facts, they did a poll, and 18.9 million people said that they use marijuana on a regular basis. That's 7.3% of our entire population.
That admitted to it.
That admitted to it, right.
In Texas, you're talking. In Texas.
No, it was the United States.
In the United States, okay.
Well, we didn't ask everybody, so...
Right, and some people might have lied. 42% of people in Americans who are 12 or older say that they've used it at least one point in their lives. So we're looking at really half of all adults are have at least used it, or they're open to using marijuana. It's really, you've seen a rise and fall in the acceptance of marijuana. There are two sides. One side will say, like what you just said, it's not really that big of a deal. You know, it doesn't make you aggressive. It's safer than alcohol. The other side will say, well, it's a gateway drug, and it opens up the gate for people to go and use harder drugs.
You know, I am betting that people that have a strong feeling like that have not even ever been around it to know what they're talking about. They've probably seen the movie Reefer, and y'all know that movie that...
well, you know, and that's what's funny, because in the whole timeline of marijuana, the legalization of it, back there in 1936 when they had that Reefer Madness show, that was the whole thing. Yeah, that caused the whole marijuana hysteria. And when I was
created by the government deliberately.
Yes, to scare middle white class people into not using marijuana.
Correct.
And so that's when everything changed.
Well, they wanted hemp to be eliminated in the country because the cotton growers were losing money, and that's where that all started.
That's exactly true.
Economics.
Yes. There's a big lobbyist for that. And I'll have to say, as far as the gateway is concerned, I think that the biggest gateway to crime in America is alcohol.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And I think that, so if you want to talk gateways, let's go ahead and get rid of alcohol again, too. The truth is, human beings either have the courage to take the first step, and then they have the courage to take the second step. The difference between alcohol and marijuana is, the only thing it's a gateway to is enlightenment with marijuana, and I think a lot of leaders know that it enlightens minds, and I think there's a huge interest in keeping people stupid.
There is.
The people in the 60s got really smart on this marijuana. They started questioning Vietnam on this marijuana. We need to take away this marijuana.
Pretty much anything that doesn't feel good. It makes you question anything that doesn't feel good in your heart, you know? Like, you just are like, no, man, that doesn't feel right for me right now, you know? Imagine how much of the system would fall apart if everyone just stopped doing things that like harsh their vibe, you know?
The science of the gateway is this. Both, I'll say here in California where it's medically legal and has been for a long time now. We're veterans of this and probably pioneered it, I think, for the country. But also
you were the first state.
The data in Europe as well showed this, that the only way marijuana was ever a gateway drug is when you had marijuana sold by drug dealers, because they also had right next to the marijuana other things to sell, like cocaine and other things. Once marijuana is actually legalized, that gate is closed, because now the drug dealer with cocaine and whatnot is the outsider in the hoodlum neighborhood, and marijuana is normalized and safe. So it actually is less of a gateway. In fact, in these countries that open up marijuana, their hard drug usage goes down.
Well, the crime rate here in Colorado has gone down 60%.
Whoa!
60%.
Because they're all high. They're watching cartoons.
Right. know, we're all eating donuts or whatever.
Well, and we need to.
And you know, I have to say, you know, I don't know how many of you guys know that my granddaughter was a medical marijuana user.
No.
She actually just passed away in January.
Granddaughter.
And,
Wow, sorry.
yeah, she was 2 years old when we discovered she had a brain tumor, which was extremely rare. There was only 75 other kids that had ever been diagnosed worldwide when she was diagnosed. So the tumor was the size of a grapefruit.
Wow.
It came from preservatives, and so she had surgery. She survived the surgery, which was a miracle. They didn't expect her to even survive surgery. So when we started chemo, they started aggressive chemo. Like, she had the most aggressive chemo a human being can have. Smaller dose, of course. But we started her on the oils immediately, and we didn't do CBD oil. We did THC oil because it's supposed to help with brain tumors and all the other side effects. And I got to tell you that Lorelai did not have organ damage from the chemo.
Wow.
She was supposed to have lost her hearing. She never lost her hearing. She was supposed to go blind. She didn't go blind. And she was never, ever supposed to actually start school, do anything a young 4-year-old should be doing. And she did. She accomplished all that. I mean, she did ultimately end up passing away, but she didn't have side effects of the chemo or the brain tumor that you would expect. The doctors just can't believe it, and they're actually trying to duplicate the quality of life that Lorelai had throughout the entire treatment plan that she had, because she should have been, well, she shouldn't have survived 2 years. She should have passed away way before the 2 years that she had, but she literally played. She played until the end, and I think it's important that we let people know that, you know, this actually improves the quality of life of children, not just CBD, but THC as well.
Who introduced the idea to even use the oil? Was it the doctor? Was it you? Like
no, it wasn't the doctor. It was actually people my daughter knew. She had a friend who was part of a cannabis group in Colorado. You know, medical marijuana in Colorado has been illegal for, I don't know, since 2002 or 2001. I can't remember the exact date, but it's been a long time. So it's well known here in the community. And as soon as we posted that Lorelai had terminal brain cancer, we had a flood of people telling us, this is what you should do. This is the type of oil you should probably start her on. And after a conversation with her oncologist, her neuro-oncologist, he was on board. You know, he was like, okay, let's track this. Let's do this. We're on board. We actually just had a conversation with him about 3 weeks ago, and he is 100% positive that the oil that we gave her and the diet absolutely changed her life for the better. She had a quality of life because of it. Because
and like I'm having
autopsy, her brain had actually been encased by the brain tumor.
Wow.
Functioning. She should not have been functioning whatsoever, and they just the only thing that told us she was declining was that her bodily functions had almost ceased. And because of that, we knew that she was heading in that direction, but we didn't know how bad the tumor was until we donated her brain to science.
Wow.
And he wants people to know that they should talk to their doctors about medical marijuana as end-of-life treatment.
Like, I'm having so many reactions right now, like, internally listening to this story. I feel, like, anger and rage about, you know, like you said, that was caused by preservatives, possibly yes. GMO foods, possibly what your daughter was eating, all of that stuff, trusting that the FDA was not trying to poison her.
That's exactly what the doctors think. I mean, the American Cancer Society actually has peanut tumors. The cause is preservatives. They don't say exactly what the preservative is.
Right.
But, you know, you think you're eating healthy.
I'm telling you, though, they are only saying that because it's so obvious they have to, because they really, really, the way that they present themselves, I cannot possibly believe that our leading scientists in this country are such incredible buffoons. Like, they cannot be that stupid. They just they can't. It's not possible.
Well, it's the same thing that happened with Agent Orange, DDT.
Right. Yeah.
You know, my mom's family was devastated by Agent Orange and DDT. They were raised in a farm in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and 4 of the siblings all died of side effects of the DDT and Agent Orange.
And so what's upsetting me is that our like FDA and all these people that we have put in place to protect us and keep us safe from the things that we consume, you know, that's what's poisoning us and killing us. And then we go to the doctor, and the doctor fills us with even more crap. And the only way to get relief from that is to sidestep them and go towards nature. But as a mother of a 3-year-old, I am constantly like in fear when my child is sick that if I take him to the doctor, my child got whooping cough. The doctor said he had allergies and refused to test him for whooping cough, and it was not allergies. It was so very obvious it wasn't allergies. I took him to another doctor the next day. But this doctor, the first doctor, who was just blowing me off like I was just some moron, but I can tell you I know more about healing than this guy does. He was regarding me like I was just some...
You're a young mom. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, we experienced that with Lorelai. Lorelai, it took us...
But it was more than that. It was more than that. If I didn't follow his advice, and I went and filled his prescriptions and then just threw them away because I could have been in jeopardy of having Child Protective Services called on me for not following the advice of this guy who's going to poison my kid.
Right, medical neglect.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Lorelai's tumor wasn't diagnosed for a year.
So these systems that are in place are hurting us and preventing us from going to the truth. The truth that we are human animals created perfectly, and like religion aside or whatever, God, Goddess, we're created perfectly in the image of God, nature, universe, you know? Right. So we're not broken from the start. We get broken by following these structures and by sidestepping these structures and finally going back towards what we know is right to do. We are putting ourselves in jeopardy legally. You know?
We are. Well, and you know, for Lorelai, her doctor was on board to do alternative medicines because she was terminal, but he believes that we extended her life and gave her quality of life by 2 years because she shouldn't have survived that long. I mean, at one point they thought that she had an 80% chance of survival, and yeah, I mean they initially they wouldn't even give us a number. She was at 0 starting off.
Wow.
So for her to survive that long was a miracle. And it's all because of the cannabis oils and good food.
I've heard that juicing marijuana is an incredible medicinal thing. And I say heard, I wish to God it was legal to grow a plant here, because to get a bud the size that you would need to juice it, I can't afford that black market, you know?
Well, you won't be able to walk after that juice either. You don't need a bud that big, honey.
But I really want to experiment with that, because you hear all these stories and it makes me think of reishi mushrooms like we talked about in the last show, reishi mushrooms being adaptogens. And adaptogen just goes into your body and knows what needs to be healed and just does that. It is amazing. And I have the same sense that marijuana does the same thing. But
well, the juicing, you wouldn't do the buds. You would do the leaves. You would just do the actual leaves. You wouldn't do the buds. And
see, I don't know
grow it all.
But I want to try it.
Well, I actually grew. Okay, so I have actually never used marijuana. I'm one of those people that have never ever used it. I can honestly say that it never dawned on me that it would be medicinal, you know, or for any other purpose. But of course I would absolutely try it if I got sick. But I grew 18 plants for my granddaughter last year.
Wow.
Yeah. Because that was helping her out, you know. I would grow a whole forest if it saved kids.
Yeah.
Well, Patricia, I want to tell you that you and your daughter have completely gone to one side where you have taken care of your granddaughter despite what three-quarters of this stupid world says as far as what you should do and what you shouldn't. You listened to the people that were saying that this is going to help her, and you were looking for anything that would help her. It didn't matter if it was marijuana or whatever. You got what you needed to help her sustain her life and make it better, and I applaud you because you didn't listen to the doctors or the other people next door that would say, "Oh my God, why are you doing that?" You know, and that's wonderful. I applaud you for that.
We did a lot of research prior to actually giving her anything because we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, literally, we had to do research and listen to the people that had been doing it for years. Because there's been people here in Colorado that have been doing it for years, and we did research. There's research coming out of Israel, out of Spain, out of Great Britain, and all of these countries are doing amazing work.
You know what I found? You know what I found interesting when I was looking at the research is the doctors. The way that most of the laws, the medical marijuana laws, are written is that doctors aren't, if you prescribe marijuana, that's illegal, and so the doctors could have federal charges. They could be prosecuted.
That is correct. That is correct. So when the last meeting that we had with our doctor, he's really frustrated because here in Colorado they have given us they've given them money to research. However, they cannot go buy it and they cannot prescribe it. They have to depend on what they are telling them. On what the patients are telling them they're using, and that's what they're depending on. The federal government doesn't allow it, and 80% of the chemotherapy drugs that are being given to children right now are not approved for children. And oncologists are really upset about that. I mean, they're frustrated because they can't move on and research.
And what blows my mind is that we know that these people either don't know what they're doing or they're leading us the wrong direction intentionally, and yet like we have to follow them. Like I'm really looking, like I have this vision of a beautiful world where we all just quit listening to what they say. You know, like if we just all quit listening to what they say, you don't gain power, you take power. That's how they have power, is they took it. And we could just simply quit playing along, but I don't even know how that would be possible. But it's just so frustrating.
Right, well, we have a presidential campaign coming up, in the United States, and I'll tell you right now, you bark loud enough, it becomes part of their debate. This is a time where Americans, it's like if you have a problem with it, post it on your Facebook, tweet about it. Post it on your Facebook, tweet about it. Like, really, that's all you have to do. It's not. You can do it from your phone in a supermarket line. Well,
and that's why
it affects elections. Yeah.
Well, and part of the reason that with the research and all that other stuff is because the government has it classified right now as a Schedule I drug, which is there's no medical use, there's no use for it at all. So people can't get funding to research it and to find out more uses and safer uses or any of that stuff because it's pretty much shut down by the laws and the red tapes.
And that's correct. And you know what? The funny thing is that the U.S. is the only, they are the patent holders of THC.
What? You shouldn't be able to hold a patent on a plant God created. Right there alone, I'm like, wait a second.
Well, there are two.
Let me speak for God on that one. Who the hell do you think you are to patent something God created?
Exactly. You know that's totally illegal, but they have it patented they patented it for the military.
Whatever. Head injuries. I'll tell you right now, in California, the kids up in Humboldt County and their crossbreeding have far exceeded anything the government has created in marijuana. You know what I mean? Like, the free industry in California has been very interesting. Let me tell you, it's very well. California's been doing for a long time as far as medical. Personally, I think medical is kind of like, because you go to a doctor, but here in California, like on Venice Beach, we've got all these doctors. We've got guys with signs like, get your license, come on in. So it's a matter of money. It's a matter of money.
Colorado. Mm-hmm.
They don't understand what the rights are, so they ask you certain questions and document it certain ways. So it's You know what I mean? The whole time.
Mhm.
But it does keep, if the clubs pay taxes, they flourish, And what's happening, which is very interesting, and I think this is one of the keys to it. One of the things holding back marijuana is the alcohol industry. Okay?
Yes.
The alcohol industry is spending a lot of money to hold back marijuana. What's happening in California is marijuana is explored. Like last time I was in a club, I have ADD, and for one, I've used it for that for a long time, and it got me through college with straight A's. I'm telling you, it has saved my life. Otherwise, I would not be able to tie my shoes. I really wouldn't. Like as far as how scattered I tend to be. So for me, it's been a long time, even before it was legal or whatever. Where it's coming out now, like in the clubs and whatnot, they're creating cannabis ice cream. They're creating cannabis soda pop. They're creating all these cannabis foods. And I think this is where, if I could give Texas any advice, it's like, or Colorado where it's legal recreationally, it's like, allow these alcohol companies to start, creating cannabis and creating alternatives to alcohol. Allow them to have a piece of this action, create an inclusive solution, an exclusive, solution, and you'll see it open up for everybody. Let human beings have the choice between two, and let the old dogs in on the new market. I think that at the end of the day, the marijuana market is strong enough in the backyards of Americans that it's not like alcohol, where you can go like kill Billy Joe and his moonshine distillery and because it's so easy to find. Marijuana is a weed; it grows naturally. You're never going to be able to have an evil empire that controls all of it, because I can always grow it myself. Monsanto doesn't own these seeds. You know what I mean? So it's like,
but they're working on it, aren't they? Didn't they just create?
They are working on it.
Yeah.
Let them create.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show, which you did very well, by the way, ladies.
What? Oh, thank you. That was a great show, wasn't it?
It was a great show.
We're referring to the Magic Mushrooms versus Monsanto show from 2 weeks ago. If you didn't see it, there's a lot of really cool info there, and introducing you to Paul Stamets and his magical mushrooms that can do away with the need for Monsanto altogether.
Oh,
Really
I've seen that.
Really cool guy. So, the funny thing is like, I have found as a philosopher that you can spin your wheels all day long thinking about the problem and how to solve the problem, and you get past the problem, but really what's really effective is going a step backwards and going, wait, why is this even a problem to begin with? It's just a plant. Valerian root. If people wanted to abuse another plant, valerian root is like where Valium came from originally. I mean, if this could very easily be valerian root. There are so many plants that are sedatives. Thyme tea is a sedative. Thyme, okay? Make thyme tea, drink it, and you'll pass out. Skullcap is a sedative. Like, why marijuana? It doesn't even make sense except for when it comes to business.
Paper and alcohol. Paper and alcohol.
Yes.
Actually,
the
and
portion of it. You know that we've made record tax money here in Colorado, now that it's gone recreational. We have so much tax money that the state is actually asking the residents if they can keep the money, because they have overtaxed the recreational portion of it.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Right.
That's just like the smiley face state.
Right.
Well, good for Colorado. I'm very proud of them. I'm very proud of the citizens that are doing it. And I think that this is really part of, we talk about the age of Aquarius. Well, this is one actual quiet turning point. You have a generation who's going to open up. It's going to be legal. And so the marijuana does open minds. I'm going to tell you right now. Even if you do it just one time, you'll see yourself different, and not in a bad way. You're only seeing yourself. So I think you're seeing kind of like a whole generation of open minds that are going to start to happen versus closed minds with alcohol.
Right, because with alcohol, it's the complete opposite. I mean, from a psychology standpoint, what I learned in my psychology classes in school is that when you're drinking alcohol every day, you are not dealing with your issues. You cannot possibly get to the root of and overcome some personal problem while you're drunk. It will never happen, ever, ever. So if you are a constant drinker, then your emotional intelligence is the same as it was when you first started. So if you started drinking every day when you were 18 and you are now 45, you still have the emotional maturity of an 18-year-old, of who you were at 18. Not even like an enlightened 18-year-old, but an 18-year-old who's about to become an alcoholic, okay? Marijuana, however, you sit under a tree and you have these downloads of like awesomeness, and you discover yourself, and then you eat some cake.
And sleep well.
What?
And sleep well.
And you sleep well.
Yeah. Although
It's
I
helped
do.
me with insomnia too. Insomnia was a huge thing
Yes.
with me, and it's helped me with huge insomnia. It also helped me with issues with hunger issues and eating. And it's I'm reading been reading the Serious Conversations with God, and God is jokes about how he's one of his most proud creations, marijuana.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, that might
So-
be one reason it's being kept away from us. I really would love if it was legal, because I really would love to experiment with that plant, because I'm really feeling vibrationally that it's very similar to the effects of reishi, and that's just really neat to me. But all right, so as we all prepare for our trip to Colorado, let's discuss some vacation hacks for parents and kids. And I think, Jennifer, you have 3 teenagers, so I am feeling like you really have this. You really have this. Like,
okay, yeah, no, I so don't really have this. That's why I went and researched this. But no, I really don't have it. I did find kind of some cool things, though, just things to make your overall vacation experience a little bit easier, I would say. So the very first thing I found, okay, I love the beach, in case anybody didn't know that, and I thought this was one of the coolest things ever. You take, like, just a sunscreen bottle and take out the little top of it. You can put in your keys, your phone, your credit card, your hotel key, if it's like one of those little credit card shaped ones. Put the top back on it, and then when you go to the beach or the lake or wherever, it stays nice and dry and all together. And if you're
gonna think to steal your
yeah, because most people don't care about that, and so it'll just keep going.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Cool.
I like that for. Oh, you know what? I think a lot of these are beach related. I guess I know where I really want to go right now.
But that's not Colorado.
It still counts. We need sunscreen across the whole globe.
You need a lot of sunscreen in Colorado, actually.
You do not need sunscreen.
Sun up here.
Yeah.
Don't use soap on the oils on your body and eat good food. You do not need sunscreen, Christopher Witecki.
Just use it to hold your phone at the beach.
We belong on Earth. We are not broken.
So true. And I'll just point out that it's also a great place to store your stash.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Your medical,
With sunscreen,
with your medical
too.
card.
With your medical marijuana license, of course.
Yes.
I have a little bit.
Okay. Next one. I thought this was a really good idea, too, when packing. If you know how every hotel you go to, you get those shower caps. If you will wrap your shoes in the shower caps and then put them in your suitcase, it'll prevent your clothes from getting dusty and, where just random things can happen. I know that, like, when I'll go to the beach or whatever, it never fails. I'll open up my suitcase and something would have gotten on my white shirt or my white sundress. So that would save a lot of time.
Instead of trying to do the packing where you have soles together and you put them in and you just hope they don't come apart.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea.
I know. I like that one.
O.J. Simpson could have used that tip with the bloody footprint. I'm just saying.
What was he thinking?
Oh, my God. That just went that was very quick. Quick, dark humor there, Christopher.
The real Christopher comes out.
Well done. Well done.
Okay, this next one. I have ruined many outfits because of, like, my shampoo or something exploding in my bags. And I will try to use, like, the big Ziploc gallon bags, but that doesn't help when your crap still squirts out all over that. You're still in trouble. So what you do is you take a little piece of saran wrap, open up the lids of your twist-offs, put the saran wrap over it, and then just screw it back on. And it will prevent any of that stuff from leaking out and getting all over your suitcase.
Wow.
Super simple.
Genius.
I know.
I love it. That's a very good tip.
They are so smart. Okay, last one. This is kind of a money-saving one. The people suggested that when you are going to, like, Hotwire, Expedia, places like that, to get discount hotel rates, if you will go to a private browser and clear your cache, your rates will tend to be lower. Because they keep track of that, and the more times you visit the site, the prices of the hotels and things start to increase. So if you're going private browsing, it'll keep it lower. And you know what? I know it's totally true because there have been times because I won't make up my mind and I'll keep going back and back and back and back, and it does keep rising.
That's what?
That
I
is true. It
know.
does keep rising.
Yeah, they
And
keep
you
it
assume it's because you're getting closer to the date.
But
Right.
it's
Because
not.
they're counting the times you go.
Mm.
That is sinful.
I know. So private browsing and clear your cache before you do it.
Go on your grandma's computer. They're like, we'll take it for free.
What do you mean by private browsing, Jennifer?
Well, like if you're using Safari, you can go right under the file and it'll say do private browsing. If you use like Google Chrome, you can go to those lines and I think it says like incognito window.
Mhm.
But what it'll do is it'll open up another window and it doesn't keep track of where you're going.
Correct. Doesn't keep track of where you're going, and it doesn't allow. It basically makes every website think that you're there for the first time.
Wow.
So like it keeps your anonymity. What's happening is, and this is a business I've been always interested in watching, is that basically there's a lot of inside boys trading with advertising, and they're basically tracking everything about you. What's very scary is with an email address, I can find out a lot about you. So much. And I can find out in one quick search query that happens as soon as you land on my site. So you land on my site, I look on your hard drive, read your cookies, go back, hit a database, know all this crap about you, and then come back and present something to you to sell to you. And this is what they're doing. They're basically spying on you in order to try to sell to you better. And the joke in the industry is, it's like I go to IKEA, I buy this, I look at this chair I want to buy, I decide I don't want to buy it. I open up my Hotmail, there's that chair. I go to Yahoo, there's that chair again. The chair starts haunting you all over the internet because the cookie keeps saying, they're basically harassing you for a product you just looked at for a second because they're tracking your cookies. This way of browsing where you constantly clear out your cache every day or you do the incognito browsing takes that power away from them. There's no cookie to look up.
Wow, that's interesting. And why in the hell do they call it cookies anyway? I mean, that's like a rhetorical question, but it's just silly. It sounds silly. It's like they were trying to make us think it was something delicious,
Well, it comes from cookie cutter, and I think it's like the cookie cutter data we always grab. So it's like there's this cookie cutter data. It's like a unique ID in the cookie cutter data. Cookies have they're just like a little piece of data that goes unique ID 106.55555. And all that is like, oh, that's Chris again. That's Chris again. So they're dropping a little. Really, it should be called like a tracer, because that's what it is.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Not a cookie.
Right. They make it all cute for Cookie Monster. Well, there is a program out there I think called Cookie Monster. Just so you know, eat all your cookies.
Well, that was a very great hack there, Jennifer. I mean, I love. We share great stuff a lot, but that one right there is gonna actually change some stuff for us.
I know. I was shocked.
I'm all over that.
Yeah, you prevented all sorts of leakage there.
I have a couple of, or I have one vacation hack for parents, especially parents of young children, especially single, only children. I have recently discovered going on camping trips and such with friends that have kids the same age as my son, friends that I actually enjoy myself, and their kids that my kid enjoys, and then they go. So the kids go. He doesn't want to hang out with me. I do not have to keep him entertained. It is like he is learning. He's learning how to romp around, like camping. They went off and explored in the woods for 3 days, and the kids' level of understanding the world around him just blew up. So the adventures that they have together that they don't get to have when they're attached to their parents' hip, but also parents get to take turns. So hey, I'm going to disappear for the day. All right, I got the kids. And then the next day it's your turn. So that's, hey, my kid's 3.5, so y'all are nodding like you all know this, but I feel brilliant right now. I feel brilliant.
And this is ancient American secret to send your kids off to camp.
No, but when you have to take them with you on a vacation, go with people you like, that you actually want to be around, and their kids that your kid also, it's really good math there. I love it. I'm loving it. So
It does help because then you don't have to get up every single time. You get up every other time or
And
every
not only
third time.
that, but there's so many less like reasons to get up. The kids are like doing their thing. They are not bored. They're not bugging mom. They are thrilled with life that they get to go explore and be away from the parents.
Just a quick plug for Disney. Like, that's the whole point of the Disney cruise or Disney resort. Like, Disney built this whole system where you just like, you check your kids in and then you go do whatever the hell you want for the whole time.
I have to say, so Christine, who was on when we first started the show, she used to come on a lot. My friend Christine and her daughter Zen, and we've got this going on now. And so he's with something else cool that's happened is I now know how she is with my son, and I know how my son is with her daughter Zen, and I know how they are together. And after spending 3 days camping with them and watching that all go down, I'm like, yes, you can go stay the night. You know, I don't have any qualms with that. I already know that our parenting styles, you know, jive, and that's an amazing thing. And I will most definitely be planning more camping trips because now I know that this works and that I actually get to go do yoga in the trees at 9 in the morning if I want, and whatever mom needs. It's awesome. So that is my vacation hack, is bring a friend with a kid that can play with your kid. That's like a whole new world for me.
Sounds like superhero camp.
Yeah, superhero camp. That's coming soon, everybody. All right. Well.
All right.
Without further ado.
Oh. Okay, you're gonna have to drum roll.
Okay, hold on a second. I guess we were not. Now I'm awkward. Y'all can just forgive me. I'm awkward and I'm okay. I've got. Haha. Do we have a picture of Mike?
I do. You ready? Boom.
Mike Hernandez, you are the Modern Mommies Hot Daddy of the Week.
Yeah.
And he was actually nominated by Christine because she says that not only is he a fantastic father, his daughter Alexis has autism. And he has gone above and beyond in getting incredibly involved in autism awareness for his daughter, and now for children in general with autism. He does a lot for autism awareness, and is also an incredible father. So so for all of that, Mike Hernandez, we salute you as this week's Hot Daddy of the Week, and we thank you for being such a stellar daddy. Thanks, Mike.
Yes, yay! I can't find it. I'm a mess. Sorry. Thank you.
But you know what happens when you let me get in and do all this stuff, right? Like, you do know what's about to happen, right?
It turns out, oh, here come the eyes.
Yeah, I mean, because that's just what's up. So,
Alexis is going to play with her inner child for a second.
It won't let me. Did you cut me out? Did you, like...
I would never do that to you.
Are we grown-up only right now? Is that,
that would be so sad.
That would be so sad. It's not letting me...
I can't even find it, like, for real.
Well, that's all right, everybody. You don't get to see me with my cat ears and my crown. I mean, I know my crown is there. That's fine. Whatever. Next time.
Yes. Come back next week for that.
Yeah, so we air now every 2 weeks here on tweettalk.tv. You can find us at modernmommies.me. If you have a hot daddy at home, or if you know one, if you know a stellar daddy and would like to honor them live here on the show, go to modernmommies.me and upload your hot daddy there. All we need is a picture and a brief reason why. Or you can find us on the Facebook group, Modern Mommies, right there on Facebook, which is now an open group. So find us and join us, and we'd love to hear from you there. Also, I'm keeping it open. My kids said what? If you have a child that just, you know, blurts out wild things that you just have to share because they're hilarious, go ahead and send us something on Facebook and we'll share it live. All right, so that about does it for this week. I want to say thank you so much, Patricia, for coming on the show and sharing everything you know with us. It was really great information. I'm so glad you made it.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
Thank you. And join us anytime. We do air usually on Thursday nights at 6 p.m., but we're mommies, so that we've got like a 24-hour window of opportunity there. But whenever we get on, we send the link, and then, join us if you'd like. Mary, so wonderful to see you again.
Thank you.
So wonderful having you back. It's been a while. And Christopher, the wizard of Soul Garden and a father of, we've got to hear about this birthday and what goes down after that. I want to hear all about that. So.
Well, thanks. Thanks for having me. I'll let you know. I'm an 18-year-old.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Christopher. It's always wonderful having you with us. Not only as our token daddy, but, the wizard has arrived.
Wizard of Soul Garden.
Plus, it's getting your little dash of Christopher humor. I've missed it.
Thank you.
It's a unique flavor.
I need an audience of captured women at least once a week. So if you end up, just let me know.
Well,
I'll come charm anytime.
Well, I will. I'm going to nudge you now. I'm going to nudge you in a couple of weeks, as soon as I know what we're talking about in 2 weeks. Jennifer, always a pleasure.
You too.
It's always a long day until I finally get on here and see you, and it's just wonderful hanging out with you. And thanks for everything you do as my awesome co-host.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll be back in 2 weeks, and yeah, right here. So see you then. Until then, live, love, be.